Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we have a special draft edition, as it were, of the BS of the week. And with me, as usual, my old mate, Chris. How you doing, Chris? You all right?
No, very good. Thanks, Kev. You?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. I'm fine. And I think we have somebody special with us, don't we, today?
Oh, we do indeed. We only have the one and only Conrad Whittingham, winner of yet another Sky Bowl. Nice to see you,
Welcome, Conrad.
Excellent. No, good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, our pleasure, mate. Our pleasure. So, what did you think of the draw then, Conrad? We've got to ask you first. Seeing that you don't ever have a pick in a draw.
I know. It's so funny, isn't it? It's kind of like, I was looking and thinking for the last 5-6 seasons, the most I've probably had is like one pick randomly here and there. But this draft, it's an interesting one, wasn't it? Because it was very, let's just say, light at the top. So it just, as a headline, just didn't have those elites, which always seem to go to the GFL for some reason, even though I'm sure everyone seems to scout them as well, but loads end up there. But yeah, very little there. However, and I still did an analysis, I thought it was really interesting to kind of see on the draft. And to me, it was like, for the number of players though who you'd give round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4 type values, there were lots. And so kind of going to the bottom of 5 where we've reached at the moment, there were lots of good players still getting picked in round 5, and even round 4 you're getting level 4 perfect guys who normally I'd say if you're getting them in round 3 you'd be happy, yet they were coming in lower in 4 and in round 5 some absolute stunners. So like the Rapiers at 521 got a level 4 perfect 65 quick OT, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, that's like absolutely brilliant. And then Eagles got a strong tight end low in 5. Again, another perfect 65 quick OT to Seattle low down in 5. Loads of good players and lots of depth in there. So one of those strange drafts where if you were a pick a bit like this, if you pick kind of like let's say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, where you're thinking, I'm going to get someone good but not a superstar. But yeah, if you had loads of picks into those middle rounds, then you're probably thinking, oh my goodness, my draft looks amazing.
Yeah. Is that why you traded everybody? Traded away all your picks then, Chris?
Pretty much, yeah. I got to be honest, when I first looked at the draft and I looked at the top end and I thought there was Trash and Meister, and then there was some quality, and then I looked at it and I thought, well, I'm giving up a lot of top picks, but I'm also getting a lot of levels, and a lot of coaching points saved. So don't get me wrong, as soon as the draft started, I was kicking my heels and thinking, oh, I could have had him and I could have had him, and oh, what have you done? But overall, no. When I looked at the draft, I thought if you were picking sort of top 3, even into 4 maybe. I think there were a couple of good receivers, weren't there, at the top as well. So if that's where you were going, then that was great. But below that, then you got a lot of good players rather than great players, and like Conrad just said, with great QSTs and some quite high level players. And then when you look at the draft overall, pretty much everybody's done very, very well out of it. For all they may not have got elites, there've been some very, very good players and great QSTs.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest, from my own point of view, I've got lots of holes, shall we say, and this draft was good for that because, as you said, there's quite a bit of depth in there. Not an absolute well, there's probably 1 or 2 superstars, but the vast majority are very good journeymen that you want. Okay, well, that'll fill that hole. That'll fill that hole. And as you say, when we look through the draft, I think there've been a lot of good picks in there. So the pick of the draft for you then, number 3.
my first
Irish.
Pick?
The Irish.
Trash and Meister, definitely elite. Perfect QST, level 7 elite. What more could you ask for? Thank God he didn't drop to 4 because I would have absolutely cursed myself.
What you'd give them to Ben?
Basically. So I'd have, for all I'm happy with the trade I pulled with Ben. If Trash and Meister had been there, there'd have been a tear in my eye. Let's put it that way.
Having a look at kind of Ben's draft and kind of all the guys he got in round 1 and round 2, and actually all the way down, it's kind of like in round 4. he really got a lot of good players. And again, that whole thing of the depth where like he was what, middle of 2, and it's a level 7 70 tech IB. And
Yeah.
then at the bottom of 2, he got a 5 quality 75 quick corner who quality, I don't know how people treat it and look at it differently. But I kind of in mindset normally think, well, definitely add a couple of levels on is the equivalent to me if you've got a quality 7 coach. So he's just nailing it. And again, another 5 quality quarterback at the bottom of 2. And yeah, he's kind of all those top 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 picks or whatever are just going to be key players to him going forward. So to kind of have to be able to get that all the way down in effect to round 4 and an elite kicker in 4. Yeah, he's traded loads of stuff away, but he's really immediately kind of added a really good core that looks like it'll do some stuff quite quickly. If he can get 3 or 4 pops on some of those guys, they're going to be level 11, 12, 13 very, very quickly. And so yeah, his rebuild may not take quite so long, but he must have had loads of fun kind of drafting so many picks. So that's where I'm really jealous. It's kind of like
I don't think he slept on the Friday night before the first round.
One of those. What was that, Chris? Sorry, mate.
I said I don't think he slept on the Friday night before the first round. Yeah, it'd been like a 6-year-old waiting for Father Christmas.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he must have had so much fun on that, I must say. Really.
Yeah, mind you, it must have been one of those ones where you're begging that your internet doesn't crash on Saturday evening.
To the short list.
Yeah.
Dear.
Like where you're saying about the just generally across the teams that the draft seems to be like people seem to have drafted really well. That there's again, it's that thing of every year the drafting seems to get better, and people just seem to make better. Like I suppose that thing of not picking someone that you could have got 3 or 4 rounds lower, because that's the only thing, isn't it? Where it might be a good player, but if you could have got them miles lower without any issue, then of course you're losing those levels that you'll never make up. But if I kind of think for any new coaches or coaches who are still trying to kind of get used to how to draft, there's a couple of draft lists, and when you look at the players they've taken, where you look and you think, oh my gosh, like that coach is a really good one to model yourself on, kind of thing, if you're doing it. And one of them is, I have to say, and they've had loads of picks this year, the Titans.
Yeah.
Look at like James, how he drafts. So 8 quick quality receiver and an 8 perfect cornerback. Then in round 2, a 9 65 strong OB. So maybe he'll development squad him maybe and get him a little bit stronger. A level 9 decent strength center in round 2, an 8 quick 60 quick safety in round 2. Or he just really fantastic picks, and you look and think, oh my gosh, he doesn't kind of get much wrong. It's
he really also
looking and thinking how to learn how to draft. Then
he traded for Death Core as well. Did you notice?
Wide
receiver. I can't remember what level he was, but he was age 1. I think it might have been level 11 or something.
Right.
Yeah. So he obviously he was prepared to give up one of those draft picks because he was quite happy with Death Core, I think.
Yeah. No, he's good to kind of watch. And then you have like the Surfers as well, isn't it? Who he seems to pick that they do the real best player, isn't it? And then we'll just trade out guys afterwards if they've got too many in one position. And
he's doing it already. He's already put his defensive tackle up.
Yeah, exactly. It's really good. And he really drafts. He knows how to draft. But I kind of think you've got to have confidence that you're going to be able to trade them on, of course. Otherwise, it backfires a bit. But kind of, Gary knows his stuff, and he kind of.
But do you think that reflects the standard of managers that we've now, or the standard coaches that we've now got in the Big Sky? Because we used to get some real, and no disrespect to anybody, because we've all done it, but we used to get some real bloopers, didn't we? Where it's like, as you say, a level 3, not perfect QSD in round 1. It's like, what?
No, definitely more. And I think as well, people now, it seems that coaches are kind of much happier, particularly new coaches, much happier to kind of get a mentor and bounce it off, and it's kind of seen as quite a done thing, and that I'm sure that helps just to give that that safety check, because to look over someone's shortlist doesn't take long, and you can just say, have you thought, like, do you really want them up there or something? That you could say that if you have a quick look at that. So I think that really does help.
Yeah.
Well, you're saying that, Conrad. I think it helps having coaches like yourself come on, because you are very forthcoming in telling us where we're going wrong. Yeah, you give us the right advice, and there are I imagine there are other leagues where you don't sort of get that assistance from coaches, because at the end of the day, it's still a competition. Yeah. But we are very lucky in the Big Sky that we have people who, will recommend and sort of, say, well, perhaps you should do this and perhaps you should look.
Yeah, I think the other thing that sort of shows the community spirit is the actual draft itself, where, if somebody has run out of the draft picks, the community will pick the best player for them.
Yeah.
We try very hard to avoid auto picks if we can, unless we're instructed to or whatever, because it's like, well, what do you reckon is best for him? And it might be just that his shortlist has run out. It's as simple as that, so that's good. Well, just to change the topic slightly, have we noticed any major changes in direction for any teams? Obviously, yours is a change of direction, Chris.
Mine's had a major change of direction,
But have we picked up on anyone else's? Do we think is changing?
Well, clearly Ben's has. He's now got his offense, and he's now drafting a short zone offense. So but I don't know. Have you noticed any?
Well, I was gonna say as well. Well, I don't really know now though from the draft, but pre-draft, the surface, because last year they kind of coaching up deep zone a bit, weren't they? And kind of with that, and then I'm sure I saw some of the trading, a few, wasn't it? Some like of the quick wide receivers all went and traded the quick wide receivers, but then in round 3 he drafted, admittedly, 2 very good ones, a 580 and a 575 quick receivers. Yeah. So I don't know if kind of they're again to trade on, or if they're actually, he's just getting a bit.
Yeah, I was a bit confused about that, and then I started wondering: is he trying to go for a twin offense, a twin passing offense, as it were, with a short and a long?
Yeah, and do something pistolish or whatever, and just kind of throw it around and have have some fun on that.
I have another theory. Yeah, thinking to himself, that Mug Weeks he'll trade for those.
But what he doesn't realise, that Mug Weeks has got no more trades left. Ben beat him to it. No, but I always think it's always think it's interesting when you go through the picks and you sort of go, okay, why is that coach picked that position, as it were? Because if you look at a lot of the coaches, there's some varied positions, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's not always, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. There's, I mean, as I say, Gary's with his defensive tackles has already put, sort of said, okay. And again, that to me was a bit of a, you might need a defensive tackle, but why go for 2, 3, 4, whatever he's got now of them? I can never see the logic to that, but obviously it's for trading value.
Yeah, but there's also the point, Kev, that if you take 2 or 3 players in the same position, you're far more likely to have a bit of luck when it comes to aging and when it comes to the pops. So if there's one particular position that you really need help with, then maybe it's not a bad way of doing things if you're strong enough in other positions.
Yeah, well, certainly I could do with a coach. Head coach, preferably.
Classic.
Yes. So we've still got 3 rounds to go. There's still a few players in there. As you say, the depth hasn't run out altogether, but I always sort of think once you get to 7 and 8, it's a bit like Hobson's choice. You just need the luck on there, and even then, is it worth training them, as it were, or coaching them up?
I think round 6 is still quite strong, isn't it?
Yeah, round 6 is quite strong. But I'm saying when you get to 7 or 8, I think it's like why am I doing this? You know?
I think interestingly though that the one thing that helps on some of these low ones is development squad now.
Yeah.
Because by now, anyone with perfect QSTs is going to be really, really low level.
Yeah.
But you've got that chance of if they're particularly say one off and you want to make them perfect, now suddenly
Yeah.
they're quite interesting. So
yeah,
there's like, well, there's for example, what level 4 60 quick DE. So you think,
Yeah.
okay, if I need a quick DE, 65 quick, shove in development squad, I'm getting a 465 quick. And if he gets a few development squad points, he can get a bonus level and all that kind of stuff. Suddenly, he's a age one, very interesting player. Again, there's a 460 quick OT. There are only 3, but there's a couple of 60 strong guards. Those kind of things where if you're looking and thinking, could you make them perfect? Yeah, that now is much more interesting at this low bit of the draft. So having that opportunity to make someone a bit better, it makes it much more interesting, I think, on these lower picks as well.
Yeah, especially now that you can actually guarantee if you really wanted to. Whereas before it was literally the luck of the draw. But now, if you want to put the points in, you can guarantee the raise. No,
definitely. Yeah, definitely. So no, there's definitely some interesting guys there. Although I noticed the returners, just the level 3 and level 2. So that whole thing, the popularity of any semi-decent returner is definitely they're gone. They go now, don't they?
Well, you got a kicker, didn't you, Chris?
I did, yeah. I got to be honest, I was desperate for a kicker, and I was sort of riding my luck because I think there was another one with 60 strength, wasn't there? I think it was level 6, and I was tempted to wait a little bit longer, but I thought, well, I think the kicker I took, I think he was level 9. 50-50, and I thought, well, I can't leave it any later because if I do lose out on both, and I do need a kicker, I will literally be kicking myself. So. So, although I resented taking him as high as I did in the draft, desperation took over there.
Yeah, but that's where the draft is really good, because you do get to that sort of, oh my God, I need a whatever. What round do I risk letting him go to, knowing he's the only one on the board that I really want, or whatever it might be,
I think that's incredible, actually, because he's in round 5, and to get a level 8 kicker in round 5 is absolutely that's incredible. That's really good value on that. I'd be chuffed if I got one there. I think once before I drafted one in like 3 or 4 for definitely for that level. It's just that's really good. But it's that thing, isn't it? If there's a player you just need, then you might pay a little bit over the standard odds, but you get who you want. So sometimes you just think, well, I'll just pay it and pick it where I want it, so I know I get the guy I want.
Yeah, well, I had that dilemma because my shortage was a centre, and there only was one nearly perfect centre as far as I was concerned, and I'd scouted him. So I took a level 7, which I would have rather gone much higher level in the first round, but I got him because I knew he was not going to kick around until I got my next pick, if you know what I mean. So you take him above where you would have really wanted to take him. But I was desperate for a centre, or will be desperate for a centre, so.
Yeah, and that's incredible if you scouted him. That's amazing. Honestly, in that whole range of round 1, the moment you're out round 1, pick 8 or so down to about pick 20, 25. If you're getting a 7 quality, level 7 quality guy at any of those positions, then I kind of, if I got one at those, if I had picks and I had one at that point, I'd be absolutely fine with it. I think, that's good value. I'm getting a really good player for that. Yeah, absolutely. I kind of, I definitely think so. So your centre was, and centres are really useful players. They were kind of, they help in everything, don't they, in run and pass block and everything. So it's
but it is the usual sort of, do I pick the best player, or do I pick the best player for me in that position because I need that player? You know what I mean? And I think you've got to, because I've seen lots of stuff read and spoken about it, and you almost have 2 schools of thought, which is, one is you go for what you want, and the other one is, no, forget that. first 3 rounds, you just pick the best player on the board, and then you trade them or whatever. But I've got to be honest, I always think you need a bit of a balance between, what is best for you. And if that's 3 levels worse than the best player on the board, you might then think about trading or whatever. But, if you're on similar levels, I think you go for what you want rather than trade value, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, well, again, it's the different schools of thought, isn't it? Where I'm 100% historically, that's exactly the approach I've always taken. Where I look and think, if it's just if it's 1 level difference, have absolutely no qualms. If it's 2 level, I'm gonna go, oh, but probably would still do it. But the only times that really haven't ever picked for choice and just picked anyone going was if it was elites.
Right.
So if there was an elite either at the very top of the draft or one that had fallen to where you were in that first round, then not if it's like a 2 elite or something, but do you know what I mean? If it's a decent level, like a 6 or a 5 elite or whatever, then you kind of think, okay, then I just will pick them kind of thing, even if it's not what I'd originally planned. But then after that, it's all completely to fill whatever roster gaps, and unless there's a massive level difference, then I've always gone on need, actually, because then it's kind of, you're not then so stressed in the trade market, because you're not trying to think, oh my goodness, I have to find a whatever. And sometimes you will anyhow, but it's just quite fun then, you've picked your own person, your own little player, and they've gone in that spot, which is quite fun. It feels that you've built your own team up then. So I'm kind of definitely on the whole looking for need kind of thing, and there's a massissive difference.
Do the number of players in a particular position, so let's say you're looking for a technical cornerback, and you've got I don't know, 10 speedy quarterbacks and 2 technical quarterbacks, do you tend to find they go much higher, much earlier in the draft, simply because there isn't another option, as it were?
It's a weird one, that I think based on different leagues seem to do that really differently, and different year to year seems so different. And sometimes, like there, where the tech cornerbacks, which are seen as just for nickels or whatever, then normally you'd value them lower and they'd be drafted lower. And then sometimes one of them will go really high, and then other years you'll get someone similar much lower. It seems quite random on that. I don't really. Some year it just depends. If someone's got that real need one year for them, and they kind of want to pay. I must admit, it's kind of, if I was in the division with the Swarming Giant Hornets, then I would probably overpay for someone with tech, because I got to think, okay, you've got to try something to slow down. Well, I was going to say Tripson then, but of course it's Escobar now. So
and then it'll be another one in the future.
It's short pass offense a little bit. Then you need as much kind of tech as you can possibly get. So then. I'd pay a bit more. So I think that would be the main reason you would. And admittedly, if going back, this is many years now, to kind of GFL days, that was completely the approach, because you knew if you were in Dave Russell's half, then the only way you were ever going to get to the bowl was to beat him. So you had to just design your team to beat his short zone attack and whatever run he was doing inside or out. And then you'd think, well, if I can beat him and get to the bowl, it's a lottery then. And you just hope you play someone similar to him in the bowl. Otherwise, it's not built to stop them, and you just don't know what will happen. But you knew if you didn't build a team with massive short zone defense, then you were never going to stand a chance against him. So you'd never make a bowl in the first place. And I think it's the same almost in our league at the moment, where you've got, or historically, the last 6, 7, 8 seasons, if I look at kind of how we've built our Venice team, oh my gosh, it's kind of, there's never been a year that we've had particularly good at all deep zone strength defense. And we just rely on just being able to stance a few people and keep our fingers crossed, basically, to not get burnt too much. But it's short zone we stacked up on, because in our half, traditionally the best teams the last few years have been the Packers, short zone, Eagles, short zone, Seattle, short zone, other half, Giant Hornets, short zone. So therefore, kind of think, well, And even the Phoenix, a short zone, I think, as well in that half, maybe. But it's that kind of thing of, therefore, you think, well, okay, if I come up against a really strong deep zone, they would probably take me down these last couple of years. But yeah, we've kind of focused on the short because that's what the main opposition would be. This year, half our opponents seems to be deep zone. So we've got, like, Chris, we're playing your new kind of shining, beautiful deep zone attack week 3, and then we're playing Titans later, who are big long passes and stuff. So no idea how the defense will do those weeks or whatever. Gonna have to just try some different things. But the last few years we've been helped by, on the schedule, not having to face many good deep zone teams, and so we just coached up short zone. And I think yeah, Colin, wasn't it, in one of in the bowl thing, had said, in the bowl review did, was he was saying that I'd kind of taken a linebacker coach and stuff and really coached the linebackers. And yeah, I got my middle linebacker who'd lost on aging, got him all the way back up to level 17 as he was, and therefore he was just, for that short zone, he was really powerful to try and slow them down if we met them again. And in the end, of course, it was a coin toss either way at the end. But yeah, he helped in his own way by all those little increments of extra levels in that short zone, helping to just stop him a little bit occasionally, maybe. But yeah, that's all you can do, is think, who are my main opponents, and try and make sure your defense can stop them.
Well, while we're on the subject of moving away now from the draft, yeah, what did you think of the actual game, the Sky Bowl itself? What were you thinking?
It was a stonking game. It was absolute. It's one of those where, in all honesty, I kind of wish I'd be very happy with a one-sided bowl and just it be boring, because that's still lovely. But oh my goodness, it was just so close. And for it to come down, and at the end, he was just zooming down the field, kind of thing. And I thought, all right, we're going to overtime now. And then, of course, the missed extra point. And it was, yeah, it was missed, wasn't it? It wasn't even blocked, because we blocked the kicks, because we've got that good special teams. We coach it up and everything. So we block a lot, but this wasn't. It was just missed. Like, my heart went out. It was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, I think it's that thing again of, he's got a fantastic offense, and the way he structured it is just fantastic. It's so cool and fun to watch as well. But as well, it knackers an aging team. They come fourth quarter when all the stamina and all the tiring things are all exaggerated. By the end of any long drive, we're just giving away loads. It's kind of the amount, when you look in the analysis after you, the amount you add on, for example, if he runs, you're adding like 3 yards to his run, because we're so knackered. And it's that kind of thing. But yeah, I couldn't believe when he missed that. I thought, that's so unlucky. It was one of those where I was thinking, right, overtime, let's fingers crossed for the coin toss and get a decent return or something. But I couldn't believe it. He's just been, we've had such close games. But each time when it comes to that really, really close bit, and it is just the luck at those points, we've had that luck, and he hasn't, which is, yeah, I think his time is going to come. He's going to come though. You can see he's getting everyone, and he's getting so crazily close. And his team is miles younger, so it just won't. He's still got players improving, whereas, yeah, it's just how much every player goes down for us rather than anything else on that. So.
Yeah. So talking about aging, we've got on Saturday not just the final 3 rounds of the draft, but also that dreaded aging. So is it a case of bated breath for you, Chris, or you quite?
I've got to be honest. It's my mid-aging report wasn't too bad, and then, you know, when you're looking at it, and all the colours seem to have changed.
Yes.
And you think, how did that happen? Yeah. They were green before, yeah, and now they're not. Yeah. And I looked at it, and I think I was disappointed, because initially mid-season report, it didn't look too bad. Now it looks particularly bad. And yeah, I'm pretty much dreading it, because I mean, I've got a fairly youngish team, but it's all the effort you put in. It's all the CPs you're spending, and you know, and then for some reason it's always the key players. You know, it's not your fringe players. It's like the ones that age the best are the ones that you took at the end of the last draft in round 7 and 8. Yeah, and they age strong, roll 1 and 2, and they're going to gain 2 levels that brings them up to 6. You know, and in the meantime, yeah, the guy that you just spent the whole season coaching up to level 15, now he takes a right kick in the groin and he's going to lose 3 levels. Yeah, and it's just, you think, oh, yeah, but it's part and parcel.
Yeah, it's all the joys of the game, isn't it? It's all the joys.
Yeah, I mean, it could be worse. I could have a team like Conrad's that were all, you know, age 11. Yeah, collecting pensions.
Yeah, it's that thing of, because the way that kind of when I sort of look and break down the roster, whatever, and I have kind of like 12 main guys on offense, so that, you know, if one gets injured, then you can rotate someone in, and then 12 on defense because we play a bit of for an extra cornerback or whatever, and then 4 on special teams for kicker, punter, 2 returners. So in all, it's kind of like 28 players who are kind of like the key ones really on that. And yeah, on those 28, based on pre-aging, we'll lose approaching 70 levels. And that's just on those 28.
Yeah.
So that's ignoring all the backups and everyone else, whatever. So it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, so this year, that's the most we've had on the starters by quite a way, kind of coming off. And it's the kind of thing where if you look and think, if you have a great season coaching, if you're coaching young players, you'll get loads and loads. But like me, where it's older players and they're in that level kind of 10-ish upwards range, then if you're getting, I don't know, I look and think, if I got 30 to 35 pops over the season and gained levels, that's good. Do you know what I mean? That's absolutely fine. So that doesn't so it's then just trying to think, okay, can we trade in some veterans for the ones that have really fallen off a cliff, and then we'll see. But so Sunday, whenever it is, Saturday night, when they run aging or whatever, that's massively important, because the difference in how to look for us is immense on that. But of course, I assume 31 teams are kind of praying for an awful Venice aging, and, which I can fully understand and sympathise. So yeah, I'm sure that will be the wish.
I think as you said there, Chris, it's like we all know it's going to happen, but it's like, where is it going to happen, and have I got any depth there, or you know?
And I think it's that thing as well of deciding who is just too important, that even if they lose lots of levels, you just think, right, I will coach them back up, and I'll just allocate them loads of points. And if it's again, like our main running back, like Emu or whatever, every year, no matter what levels he's lost, I've consciously by the end of the season coached him back up fully.
Yeah.
Without fail. And then Ruggs at receiver, every single year, if he loses 4 levels, and he's lost 4 levels a couple of times, I've given him loads of points every week to get him back those 4 levels. Doesn't matter what age he is, he's just too important, because there's some players like that. And the middle linebacker again, this year he might lose more, but if he's losing up to 4, that's it. I'll try and coach him back up. And those kind of core players, they're the ones, when it comes down to it, have the biggest impact. And so it's kind of trying to keep them at a good level at all costs, because then you can go into any game and have a chance. If you've got kind of like a 16, 17 type level at running back, receiver, maybe a lineman, although you're like probably lower on the whole, middle linebacker, that kind of thing, or nose tackle if you're 3-4. If you've got a good level guy there, you know that, hang on a minute, I might have some holes elsewhere, but I shouldn't get hammered. You know what I mean? I should always be there or thereabouts, because I can put up points on offense with a good receiver or running back, and try and slow people down with a good D lineman or lineman.
Good stuff. Well, gentlemen, I'm very aware of the time all flying by. So I think probably we will bring that to a close.
Well, just before we go, Kev, we go. Congratulations, John, on being the post. I think this might be your last one, but I wouldn't put money on it. Yeah, but we're winging its way to you.
That's fantastic. It's very kind. I think I'm kind of starting to tend to agree with you. I think it's that thing of like I think you'll find this year, of course, we'll go for it again. So we traded out lots of picks and so, but yeah, when it comes to the kind of the season after, top picks, definitely not going to trade them out because we're going to need them by then, kind of thing, to try and start rebuild. So yeah, the time is coming to an end soon, but we'll kind of go down swinging.
Oh, well done.
Brilliant. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Congratulations, Conrad. Well done, mate.
brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant.
And to everybody out there, let's hope that the aging is kind to you, kinder to some than others, we might say. So from me, it's a good night, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time when the season starts. So good night from me. Good night, guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
cheers. Thanks, Joe. Thank you, Conrad.
Cheers.